back, football fans. So I've always been a lifelong England supporter. Obviously, being a Canadian, I've enjoyed other teams. France back when they had Henry, obviously Spain when they had Liverpool's Torres playing for them. I was really excited that Messi won a World Cup for Argentina. I enjoyed Uruguay when Liverpool Suarez was playing for them. So, I've always been a guy that enjoyed the sport, but deep down, I always wanted England to do well. I always was pushing for them to win a World Cup. And unfortunately, back in the day when we had Lampard, Gerrard, and others, the problem was ego and lack of cohesion, lack of chemistry. Players fighting about what their jobs were and what roles they were and who was better at doing what. A lot of this stemmed from club football, right? And their strong alliance to obviously their club team and their disdain for the other teams, which kind of created a division within the English squad. Obviously, we had more chemistry under Southgate, but the problem with Southgate is he just seemed to take the same players all the time, never really had doors open for younger and potential up-and-comer future superstars for the team, and played a very boring defense-first style, afraid to actually allow the skilled players to be skillful. So we always felt that we weren't really getting the best version of the English squad. So we bring in a German guy, and I know a lot of this is just in jest, but people are saying it's a conspiracy that, he's purposely trying to ruin England so that Germany can do better, I suppose is the end game. But it's ridiculous. And not all English pundits or English fans are saying stuff that's as ridiculous as this. I've heard many, like Goldberg and others, who have a much more mature perspective of exactly what Tuchel is doing right now. And so I was watching another guy who's a big famous football pundit on YouTube, and I enjoy his videos a lot, but he was going on talking about how, this was basically a conspiracy and that Tuchel's a spy for the Germans, and that he's trying to basically ruin the football team, and he's very upset with how things have unfolded. The irony with this perspective is, no matter whether people agree, disagree, or understand, what they do get is that the first team players are all there. The players that they would all pick to represent England moving forward in the World Cup have all made the team, right? There's no disagreement really on the back line, who's starting, the goalies, the midfield, or the forwards up front. Where the problem arises is when we talk about bench players. And this is something people need to understand. Having the best players from a country on a team doesn't make you have the best team. Anyone who's played sports understands sometimes you have role players that distinctly understand their role. You have specialists, people that do a specific thing very well. Maybe aren't the kind of guys you would want to start for your team because they're not well-rounded enough to be out there consistently for 90 minutes. And depending on what team you're playing and the style of play that they're pushing forward, they might be completely the wrong player. But in other situations, they might be exactly what you need, right? And that's why I don't see a lot of this kickback, because historically, people always have different perspectives of who the manager is going to pick. And ultimately, when the teams pick, people complain and moan about some players that didn't get picked. Usually people from their teams or players that they have a affiliation for, right? A personal interest or fandom for. Me, I'm a Liverpool fan. And this team from England has not one Liverpool player. Obviously, we had players that were from Liverpool. Obviously, the center back from Germany who just made the team, a guy I thought we should have kept in the off season. I didn't understand why we got rid of him, especially when you then go on to sign other young center backs who obviously aren't English and don't have any experience in the English Premier League, when you already have one right there. And then obviously Henderson, who was a long-time captain for Liverpool, but obviously has moved on since then. So there is some affiliation with Liverpool, but obviously no current squad players. So my perspective has nothing to do with club perspective and fandom, right? Not at all. I mean, I like Palmer. I mean, obviously, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I appreciate the skilled players of Chelsea just like I do in Arsenal, just like I do in Man City. Not so much for Man U. And, so Palmer not being on the team, I would have personally put him on the team. But I understand why he's not on the team, right? I get it. I understand. Because I think we need that little something coming off the bench. But I don't know how he fits into the club room. I don't know how his ego fits with the current squad, and if he would be pissed off, disappointed, or just not the best guy in the club room if he just wasn't getting the minutes that he felt he deserved, right? This is one of the reasons why he left Man City, unlike Foden, who didn't, even though Foden came through in very similar circumstances to Palmer through the Man City and Pep Guardiola's team. But Foden relented, did what he had to do, and over time became an integral part of the team outside of this year. Palmer wasn't as patient, and obviously because of that, he ended up getting basically released from Man City by Pep because obviously he couldn't cope with doing what he was expected to do from his manager. And that could be one of the reasons why he's not a part of the English squad, even though Tuchel said he was very disappointed to not be able to bring Foden. We can understand why, based on the analogy I just broke down for you. When we think about the back line, I mean, I'm an Arnold fan. I'm a Liverpool fan. So I would have loved to see Arnold there. I always felt Arnold never got as much play as he should have. But I also understand that defensively, he's not the strongest player. When the coach wants a very strong back line defensively to allow the midfield and the forwards to be a little more aggressive, I can understand that, right? But at the same time, having Arnold come off the bench because of set pieces and just what he can create from great inception passes, right? I would want him on my team as well. So I would have had Palmer and Arnold on my squad. But I can understand the coach's perspective. He just thinks, when am I going to play him? How's he going to fit in? Do I need that skill set? Or do I need more versatile guys? And that's what you got. You got two versatile guys in Livramento and the other kid from Tottenham, right? Who's a real good shutdown one-on-one defender. We know why he's there. That's specifically why he's brought there. Because he's probably not going to play unless Tuchel feels he really needs to put someone on a forward to shut them down. And we've seen Spence do that in the past. So that's probably why specifically he's on the squad, even though he's got a broken jaw and his team hasn't been in great form. Not that he hasn't been able to do what he's done defensively. Livermore, or sorry if I butchered his name, he's versatile and can play on both sides. So he's probably going to be the guy that's utilized much more than Spence. But Spence has a specific necessity in the squad. We talk about my man from Man City, why I can't think of his name. Old, obviously been injured, but one of the most skilled center backs in England history. And obviously a great leader in the squad. And that's why he's on the team, even though he might not play very much. Because you got Kwanzaa, you got obviously Burns, and then you have the two main guys who are going to be the starters for the team, Konsa and Gay, right? So the fact that your fifth center back might just be there as a leader, it's understandable. How many center backs do you need, really? Would you rather have another one there who just never got to play and got frustrated because he didn't get opportunities, which would potentially ruin chemistry of the squad? Or do you want somebody that's going to help bring chemistry together, which is why he's there right now? As far as our midfield, I mean, we know who our three best midfielders are. Then you throw Morgan Rogers in there. I would love to see him play more. I mean, obviously, depending on how Bellingham fits into the squad, Morgan Rogers may get a lot of time. Then you got, what's his face from Man U, who I think is a great player, and I never understood why he wasn't getting more time for Man U. and obviously is very young, has good legs, and you can understand why he's there as a replacement. As far as Henderson, I would have went in a different direction. But I understand that Henderson's a consistent captain for Liverpool, somebody that was very integral to that squad, the chemistry and the success, and obviously for England as well, because he's made quite a few English teams where I felt he probably wasn't the best player, but we understand why he's there, similar to the center back. They're not specifically there to get minutes. They're there because of what they bring, the intangibles, to try to create a team, right? That's what this coach is trying to do. You have to understand that unlike club football, where guys are together all year and obviously get to build their bonds much more, chemistry is obviously given far more opportunity. You play for a long period of time, and so your connection, your chemistry is just going to be stronger than obviously international football, where you're just, not all the players there consistently for cup games. People are injured. This and that happens. That and this happens, right? You want people to help bring the squad together to get them to be a tight-knit squad, a tight team going into a tournament of this magnitude, right? And people that are level-headed and can bring people together and, are exactly what a team needs. Apparently Burns is similar. I know people wanted Maguire because of experience and whatnot, but Burns is really the kind of guy that the coach feels is perfect for the team right now. He's also great off of set pieces, big dude, obviously can score in the box, obviously defend as well. So the intangibles and the fact that he's been a part of Tuchel's squad far more than Maguire is why he's on the team. It's not fucking rocket science. You might be a Man U supporter and want a slabhead in there, and that's fine. But, you're arguing about minutia, right? You're not arguing about a really huge, significant situation. And that's a lot of what I found that people are complaining about. A lot of the minutia. Overall, the team wouldn't be that different. I mean, if you added Slabhead and, Morton, who I like, and I hope Liverpool signs him, right? But would you rather have a guy that's really a character piece and brings the team together, or another potential midfielder who's just going to be sitting there on his hands, not getting opportunities to play, potentially getting frustrated because he feels he deserves more opportunity? I have no idea about the players and their personalities, but you can understand the coach does, and that's why he's making the team the way he's making it. Obviously up front, you have Tony that was controversial, but I don't think Tony's controversial. Tony is the best penalty kicker on fucking England. Last time when he did that no-look penalty kick, I was like, this dude is a fucking G. That guy, man, holy. That's the kind of guy I want on my team, because he ain't missing no fucking pressured penalty kick. No chance. That guy don't even need to look, and he's getting it in the back of the net. Like, if I needed to go to shootouts and I could pick one player for the English squad to take a kick, it would be fucking Tony. Over everybody. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, I'm taking that kid. Over Saka and other guys, Kane, I don't care. Over everybody, I'm taking Tony. So I get why he's in the team. And then obviously the other guy is going to be playing more. Tony's there for a specific need, right? The wings, not bad. I think we're a little weak on the wings, truthfully. When you got to rely on Rashford, it shows you that you're just not developing the new generation the way really English fans would like. We wish there was a new player that was there, that was really the player that was leading us forward, right? People thought a few years ago it was going to be guys like Sancho and others, and those guys just never could live up to it, right? And so now we're staying with the experienced player, who at this point, Gilmore is good, but I don't even want him for Liverpool, so why would I want him for England? Saka is great, but very one-dimensional in my perspective. He's never been the kind of forward that I really am impressed by. And then of course his backup is a good kid, Madueke, who shows good potential, but is hot and cold most of the time when I watch him play. So really, that's the part of the team that I think is weak and potentially could hurt us moving forward. But who are you going to play in those positions? No one's complaining about those positions. No one's moaning and groaning outside of maybe Madueke, who they wish potentially you'd have Foden, who's not really a legitimate winger in that position. But to be fair, I'd probably prefer to have Foden there instead of Madueke. But Madueke has played very well for England. He's a much more natural player on that side with speed. So I get why he's there, right? Do I wish England had better wingers, more world-class guys? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Wouldn't it be great if we did? But unfortunately, at this point, nobody's really stepped up to prove that they are that next generational superstar, unfortunately. So we're relying on guys that are solid, guys that start for good teams like Arsenal and Man U. I mean, even though I know Rashford's no longer with Man U, but obviously top teams, top players on those teams. What else would you expect, right? But if we could have a guy like Michael Olise on that side, oh my God, yeah, of course. I wish we had that, but unfortunately we don't. So when I look at all the complaining, moaning, it's really for a guy like Slabhead, right? People aren't really complaining that much about Arnold, and then they complain a bit about Henderson being on the team and they wish they had somebody else in the team, which that's fine, I get it. But for 2 people, 3 people that you're complaining about, who obviously, understandably, bring some intangibles to the team. Intangibles, right? The one guy I thought might be left off the team is Bellingham. He didn't have a great year. He seems to have an ego issue with, obviously, Real Madrid, but obviously with England as well, where there's been a little bit of back and forth between him and Tuchel. So I could have understood him being left off and having Morgan Rogers, the 3 named Gibbs White, and obviously Palmer in those positions instead, right? For me, if that would have been the way it unfolded, I might not have liked it, because I do think that a true superstar in our team is Bellingham, but he hasn't really played like a true superstar for a while now, right? Let's hope that it all comes together this summer for England to do the unthinkable and pull together as a team and fucking win. Because we know that's really what's going to be the key thing. We've seen French teams that had tons of talent, and we've seen literally one year from the next where the team imploded and fucking blew out because of ego and bad chemistry and just missing out on that important sort of chemistry that was necessary. Then we've seen them when they had those issues, didn't have those issues, and went on and were the best team in the world, right? And it's very easy to look at them because that's happened to them a number of times, actually. We've seen them implode because of these issues. So we understand chemistry is very important. You look at that Argentina team with Messi doing what Messi did. Everyone else had to fill a specific role because obviously Messi was going to do what Messi does. Everyone else had to work around him specifically, right? Then you see Ronaldo and Portugal, where it just doesn't work nearly as well. Even though it's a similar situation where you have a player like Ronaldo that everyone else has to work around. But unfortunately, they're just not getting the most out of their team. Most people feel they'd be better if Ronaldo was coming off the bench and somebody else was starting, right? So these are things we all know. And obviously going into a cup of this, people are nervous. They're looking for excuses. They're looking for people to point fingers at. Let's just be optimistic and hope that these moves that Tuchel has made are going to be proven correct at the end of the day. He's going to finally bring a World Cup to England, which would be great. For that to happen in my lifetime, it would be sensational. I know I'm Canadian, but obviously my mother's English, my grandfather was English. So, in my heart, obviously, I support England, and I would love to see them win a World Cup. And so I'm very optimistic about what's in front of us, even though I do know there's some weaknesses in the squad. And no matter what you did, those would not have been fixed. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.